please. We'll go ahead and we'll reconvene the meeting. So I would like to have Troy Sanderson lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I actually think the children had the right cadence, so good job. So without further ado, go to the adoption and approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Anybody have any comments, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Everybody had a chance to look at them? Review them? Any changes or suggestions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Special recognition reports and presentations. So we're going to go student reports to the board, junior high school representatives and students from Pen Grove and McKinley schools. I'll call you up in an order, but I would like, as you students come up, to clearly state your name, okay? You're on film, so you can maybe start your budding careers, but go ahead and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So I am going to go outside in from our district outpost, only geographically. Let's have our representatives from Pen Grove.
Come stand right here. We'll start with Logan over here. You guys are gonna face Lily, help them line up, okay? Oh, I'm gonna move this up. Beep, beep, beep. Woo! Quiet speaker. Are you guys in an okay order? Okay, I'm gonna little yeah. Thank you.
Probably gonna get some good head profiles on that.
That's okay, I know, we'll get there, we'll get there. They're flexible, and we love McKinley, but we
You
are
want
not
to adjust the lights?
McKinley.
Steve? You want to adjust the lights there?
You should be able to see, okay.
I think it's okay.
Just some,
We don't see their faces.
yeah. Listening to them is the best part anyway. All right. Oh, too much. All right. Okay, so this year, as you guys know, we love doing different things every year. And so this year we wanted to showcase what learning looks like from kindergarten all the way to 6th grade. So we have a representative from every grade level to share with us. And so as they start, they will introduce themselves.
Perfect.
So Logan, you can start whenever you're ready. And your mom's right over there, you see her? Go ahead.
My name is Logan, and I'm in kindergarten. I've learned sight words and writing words I can't sound out. It's really fun learning and doing math. I've learned spelling, numbers, and words. We have a new playground, and I really like to play on it.
Great job, Logan.
Very good.
All right, Callie, go for it. Really loud, okay?
Hi, my name's Callie, and I'm in 1st grade. I just came back from a field trip at the
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo Center. There was a robot and a funny guy named Mr. Fish. We learned about spinning plates and making a disco ball out of bubbles. My favorite place on campus is the library. There are a ton of books. Some that I can read and some that I can't. But you can always take books home. You just have to bring it back.
So in case you guys are wondering, Callie dresses this fancy every day for school. All right, is it really loud? Okay.
Hi, I am Izzy and I am in the second grade. Last Wednesday, our class participated in Global School Play Day. That's right, all we did all day was play. There was Twister, sidewalk chalk, and even a station to get your makeup and nails done. Kids were made to play, and 65,000 students spread across 6 continents participated. Second graders at Pembroke are already excited about next year's Global School Play Day.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nico Alva. My name is Gwen Giacominni, and we're both from 3rd grade. We're learning about Native Americans, division, multiplication, perspective art, and fractions. One of my favorite places at Pembroke is the multi because we do a lot of active stuff in the multi and it brings our whole school together. You can feel the energy in the multi. And my favorite place at Pembroke is the library because Miss Lutz reads us a story like Dr. Seuss and other funny books. My teacher, Miss Bronte, that sometimes tells us that we have to pick a book on a reading level, but other times she said we can get any book that we want. 3rd grade is an interesting grade. My name is Zane and I'm in 4th grade. In our class, our teacher makes writing really interesting and fun. We write different kinds of introductions like starting with a question or a sentence statement. We also work on conclusions which need to be at least 3 sentences long. My favorite place on campus is the computer lab because it reminds me of this book I read that says, "You can learn more with computers." The teacher threw the computer out the window and said, "That's called gravity." Luckily, my teacher, Mr. Z, hasn't thrown anything out the window this year. But then again, it's only February. 4th grade is amazing. Hi, my name is Ryan Joffrey, and I'm in 5th grade. At Pembroke, we have a lot of fun while we work. Like last Friday, we had Kyle and Artis come and visit our school. He taught the younger kids how to draw a shark, a whale, and a fish. Then the older kids made a shark, an octopus, and a submarine. Some other fun things we do in 5th grade is a project called Genius Hour, where students can spend time researching something they are passionate about and then turning it into a final project. Some examples are movie making, creating bracelets, or even an iPhone case made of duct tape. 5th grade has a ton of fun.
Hello, my name is Lily Alba. I'm in 6th grade. In 6th grade, we use a lot of technology to help us with our learning. In language arts, we are making a book trailer for the book Bud Not Buddy. A book trailer is just like a movie trailer, but shorter. Actually, let's watch one.
Such a great idea, Lily. What do you know?
researching current events. We researched Groundhog Day and the measles outbreak in Disneyland. Everything we do in 6th grade is fun and wonderful. We want to thank you guys for letting Pembroke School talk to you guys today.
Thank you. Okay, now let's have our, let's see, do we have our Kenner? Well, we'll go to next elementary school. We'll do McKinley Schools.
So on behalf of McDowell and McKinley Elementary School, we've got 3 extraordinary 6th grade students here to describe some current events happening at McKinley School and then show you a project that they're working on in the class.
Thank you, Petaluma City School Board members, for inviting us to this evening's school board meeting. My name is Alec Columba, and I'm a 6th grader in Ms. Jacobs' class.
My name is Elia Queenan. I'm a 6th grader in Ms. Parnos and Ms. Christian's 6th grade classroom.
I'm Jose Esquivel. I am a 6th grader in Ms. Aleo's and Mr. Morrison's classroom. We hope that this presentation will make you walk home with a little more information about our school.
McKinley offers several enrichment programs. We have an intramural sports league. Mr. Jackson is working with all students in this fun intramural lunch sports league. We started the year with flag football. We are currently playing basketball, and we plan to end the year with soccer.
Last semester, parents Michelle Wright and Sarah Powers worked with several female students in an after-school Girls on the Run program. I was in the program, and I can say that it was a great bonding experience. We worked on our running skills, and at the end, we completed the 5K.
Ms. Alton, in collaboration with San Domenico High School volleyball team, have organized an after-school volleyball clinic, and now most of our students from our school play volleyball each and every day at our school for recess.
Mr. Morrison, with the help of our local Rotary Club, runs a weekly after-school aviation club where we learn about aerodynamics and how to work in a team.
Mr. Deasy is working with a group of students developing skills so McKinley can compete in an upcoming Sonoma Country Science Olympiad.
Mr. Honore is working with several students who are getting ready for the McKinley's Got Talent show. We would like to recognize and thank the Petaluma Education Foundation for their generous donation towards our 6th grade one-to-one ProBook program, one of which we are using for this presentation. McKinley also has iPads for all of our 4th and 5th graders.
Our school garden has really blossomed over the past 2 years thanks to the nurturing of terrific staff members and students.
Every year, McKinley holds a salsa festival in September where each classroom makes salsa partly out of ingredients from our own garden. We also have a garden club that meets regularly to keep out all the weeds and keep the garden looking nice.
All students receive approximately 2 hours of Spanish per week in 2 one-hour blocks. Maestra Jenny teaches us language through content. Currently, we are learning Spanish through social studies. We do projects, and 6th grade is doing a project on ancient Egypt right now.
Our youngest Mustangs are in the TK classrooms, and teachers in the TK classroom are Miss Murray and Mr. Sanborn. And in the photo in the left, you could see the superhero Zero the Hero visiting our school and teaching the kids about place value. In the middle, you could see the TK's classrooms preparing for a Halloween parade. And on the right picture, you can see a 6th grader named Isabel helping a TK buddy with a reading book. Since McDowell and McKinley are sister schools, our 4th graders are the newest students to our campus. Our 4th graders seem to really like the field trip that our school provides, and they also like our iPads that the PEF provides, and some have even gone into student council. Although our school might sound like all fun and games, kids are also learning math, reading, science, social studies, PE, and art.
Each month, the classroom or grade level is responsible for presenting to the rest of the school the new character trait for that month. In December, our character trait was compassion, and our 5th graders all chose a nonprofit organization, researched the organization, and raised money for that organization before presenting their service project to the rest of the school. By the end of December, McKinley students had raised over $3,000 for several nonprofit organizations in a school-wide effort showing compassion. 5th graders are also working on robotics and coding. On the right is a picture of one of the 5th graders giving out samples of his classes also.
Sixth graders are currently the oldest students at McKinley. We work on interesting projects, essays, simulations, experiments, and a ton more. Next year, we are excited to report that McKinley School will have a 7th grade, and the following year, we'll have an 8th grade. Here are some pictures of several students working on projects with the Chromebook. Conducting an ocean science water density investigation, and a picture of a mobile showing what students learned after reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. McKinley 6th graders started the year at Park Bonita YMCA outdoor education, and these are the photos from left to right. 1 is the beautiful view from the play area at Park Bonita. 2 is Miss Jayton's students posing with luggage. And 3, hikers along the trail at Marin Headlands. These are photos from left to right. On the left is art in 6th grade. In the middle is Miss Parnell's students working on ratios in real-world situations. To the far right is 6th graders working with the TK students.
Besides students having all the fun at McKinley, our teachers and staff members also know how to have fun. Here are some pictures from Halloween and the staff versus 6th graders flag football game, and several teachers receiving a Rotary Lend a Hand grants.
As a student in Miss Jayton's classroom, one project that we have done this year is surrounding nutrition at school. We worked closely with Ray DiGiamo, head of our district's lunch programs, and Sherry Chabowski. First, we created a Google Drive salad bar survey. Then, we conducted a school-wide survey on Google Forms to get a sense of which condiments students wished to add to the salad bar and which meals they wanted to change. Next, we compiled the information and presented it to Mr. DiGiamo. Then, Mr. DiGiamo added spinach, cheese, and changed the way corn dogs were cooked. He is also offering McKinley the chance to pilot new meals. Here's a video documenting this exciting and ongoing project.
If you muted, Mark. Can you unmute? Oh, on the computer. Just start again.
Thank you.
Now we have a second video.
Let's try that one again.
It's the next slide.
Yep.
present about our school. Does anyone have any questions?
So the lunch is better already?
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now let us call up the Kenilworth Junior High reps. I'd like to hear from the Colts, right?
Hello, my name is Sue, and for the month of January, we have continued our Souls for Souls shoe drive from December, and we collected 26 pairs total. Our community service that started mid-January till February is Teens for Jeans, and we've collected about 50 jeans so far. Teens for Jeans is a charity for homeless teens around the country who wish to own their own pair of jeans. We accept slightly worn or new ones. The jeans are distributed to those in need around Sonoma County first, and is then sent around to other countries. We have been selling Valentine grams to raise money for upcoming charity events. This Friday is White, Red, and Pink Day, and we will have an Academy Award dance this Friday as well. We will provide a red carpet to greet students coming in, and leadership students flashing cameras. Also, there will be a photo booth with a variety of props for kids to dress up in. And leadership will be hosting a red carpet event for the teachers on February 20th.
Thank you. And now, last but not least, but our Petaluma Junior High School rep.
I'm Tessa. Petaluma Junior High STEM Club is getting saucy this semester as we use the noodles in our noggins to engineer structures out of pasta that are then able to withstand the weight of marshmallows and survive simulated earthquakes. Our first meeting was well attended, and we look forward to more exciting science-oriented club meetings throughout this spring. Winter Dance. Our winter dance was held last month and was attended by 250 of our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Our spring dance is April 3rd, and just around the corner will be our promotion activities and dance. The PJHS Philharmonic is once again in full swing with 45 plus young musicians from Petaluma 5th and 6th grades. Students meet every Thursday at 3:30 to stretch their music skills. Students who attend the majority of the meetings earn the privilege of playing the national anthem at Giants game later this spring. The PJHS Honor Band, Chorus, and elective teachers recently visited our feeder elementary schools to share what PJHS has to offer for next year for our incoming 7th grade classes. As for our outgoing 8th graders, Petaluma High counselors have been visiting our students to prepare them for course selection as they move closer to promotion and changing from Bantams to Trojans. Coffee with the principal and tour is happening once a month at PJHS. The first one was January 16th. The next ones will happen on February 12th, March, and 5th, and April 2nd. This gives incoming parents the opportunity to talk to Ms. Semick, meet with students, and view classrooms before becoming an official Bantam in August. We kicked off our wrestling season on February 5th with a win over Lawrence Jones Middle School. Our 34-member co-ed wrestling team is working hard and has a lot of depth that will prove to make them a formidable opponent for other junior highs and middle schools in our league. PJHS and other comprehensive sites at Petaluma City Schools will be participating in the Career Exploration Grant. Planned activities include field trips to culinary programs at the JC and possibly Casa Grande, as well as career exploration activities and programs. On January 15th, PJHS held the 6th grade Academy Preview Night. Parents and guardians from the Petaluma community were invited to come and learn about the charter. Ms. Semick, Ms. Rockoff, and Mr. Griffin have a brief presentation about the structure and focus of the charter. Then parents and guardians and students were invited to view the classrooms and ask questions. The 6th grade Academy at PJHS is currently in the 4th year. After a year break, PJHS is bringing back the Dan Figure Memorial Basketball game. This game has been held between mixed teams of teachers and 8th grade girls and boys on the basketball teams on the day before spring break. Dan Figure was a much-loved and respected physical education teacher, coach, and colleague who is very much still remembered in our hearts. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to call up Ron Everett, but I want to let you know that after that, I'll be taking a short recess so the students, after this next item, then the students can go home and work on your projects and get a good night's sleep, I hope. So let's have Mr. Ron Everett, would you come up, please? You have a presentation to make.
I want to invite Debbie Winkler, president of CSEA, to announce and introduce this the CSEA member of the board. Debbie.
It is my great honor to present to you CSEA's member of the quarter, Pat Kellgren. Pat has been with us for 22 years. She began working as an instructional assistant at Valley Vista back in 1993, and as many classified members have done, she has worn many hats. She has also been a campus supervisor and a lab coordinator at Petaluma Junior High School. In 2011, she joined the tech department at the district office where I've come to know her. She is now a technology support technician. I have often had the opportunity to watch this woman in action and know that she is constantly on the go fulfilling the technological demands of our district that we all know are never ending. Eric Nelson, a co-worker in the tech department who nominated Pat, let us know that she is a hard worker that not only has the knowledge base of the equipment she works with, but also of the personnel of our district because of her history with us. He shared some of these traits. She knows how to approach the most challenging clients, is on the go all day, is very hardworking, she just doesn't stop. This is a bittersweet presentation for me because of the district's decision to lay off Pat and Eric as they restructured the technology department, which, by the way, we found out after telling Pat that she was chosen as CSEA's member of the quarter. We will be losing a very valued and valuable member. Pat, thank you for your many years of service.
Okay, so let's take a brief recess. Kids, you and your parents can head off or stay if you like, but we'll take okay, let's go ahead and continue. We're going to go to the item H, comments from the public. Couple of things, just housekeeping. First of all, I'm going to ask that everyone refrain from cheering and jeering and treating public speaking here like an athletic contest. I mean, I get that there's passions and you support somebody or maybe don't support them, and that's fine, but I want this to have kind of the decorum you would see at city council or at the supervisors or my arena, the courtroom, where you basically, you come up, the speaker has the floor, they're the focus, and whether you like what they say or don't like what they say, we appreciate the effort and we appreciate whatever they have to say. So if we could do that, I'd really appreciate that. Secondly, it was brought up to us a few times last year, which, no, not counting last year non-school year, I'm talking about like December, November, that some people felt like the board didn't interact with them, and so that was taken as not interested or putting people up. Not true, not the case. Public comment is for you to express to us things that are within our subject matter jurisdiction that concern you, that you feel that's important enough for you to kind of leave your houses and come express that to us. Don't take that we don't hear you, that we don't appreciate what you're saying, and that we don't consider it, because we do. But we're limited by law of the interaction. We can't debate you, because it's not an agenda item. We certainly can't take action on it. So don't look at that like we are ignoring you or not hearing you. In the past, some boards of this school district have had a policy of saying absolutely nothing, stone-faced dead silence. Not my approach. My approach is and I'm encouraging my fellow board members to liberalize the policy a little bit so that if we need to ask points of clarification, if that helps to make sure everybody's, hearing the same thing, then I would encourage my fellow board members to do that. Those questions would be directed of staff, not you. If we were going to ask you as a member of the audience, it would be like someone speaking and making a reference to a they. I might say, well, you just mentioned two groups. You mentioned students and you mentioned teachers. Did you mean the students or did you mean the teachers? We might ask those kind of points of clarifications, but otherwise we'll direct them to staff. That's our province to direct to staff. You can't. You direct everything to us because we're the focal point, not staff. Staff's here to, assist and be whatever help they can, and they put a lot of hours in here. So we're appreciative of them being ready, willing, and able to address anything that might come up. Okay? So with that understanding, without further ado, I will tell you we did 20 minutes. We allocate it by subject matter. So I'm going to call it up in really no particular order, but the first person I'm going to call, because we saw a nice presentation on McKinley lunches, so I'm going to ask Matt, and I hope I'm saying it right, Coleman?
Try again.
C-O...
It's Kamana, sorry.
Oh, Kamana,
I have
sorry.
chicken scratch, so it's terrible.
You know what, I'm going to say something if my writing wasn't worse, but it's worse, so...
I should be a doctor, I guess, with my handwriting.
Yeah.
So my name is Matt Kamano. I have been teaching in the district for 7 years. 2 of them were at McDowell, and then past 5 were at McKinley. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of my observations as a teacher in terms of nutrition. We're all very aware that breakfast and lunch and dinner are very, very important meals. And something that I've seen at my school is, I don't want to say a lack of nutrition because it isn't that, just kids aren't eating as much as I would hope for. Typically in the morning when kids get there, their breakfast consists of, I believe it's a granola bar, or it might be some fruit bar, maybe some juice, maybe some fruits and vegetables. And some kids will save that for snack, and some will eat it at that time. But I can tell that they're still pretty hungry. And I know that's their decision. It's just when they're at home, they're not eating as much. I've told some of my kids as this past month, I was like, what did you have for breakfast? And sometimes it's nothing. And then it goes back, well, what did you have for dinner yesterday? Not much, just chips or something on some occasions. It's not always like that, but it's hard to hear. And then, we need fuel to think and to just work properly. And I know that some of these kids are not getting the proper fuel that they need. It's a really big concern. Especially when after a few hours they just get tired and start slumping over, and then you see them go to snack recess, and then you look at the snacks they're having for snack recess. Sometimes it's a sandwich, and occasionally you might see fruits or vegetables, but it's very rare. On most occasions, it's mostly chips, like Takis, spicy Cheetos, cookies, all the stuff that you really don't want kids eating. So they get that energy, the sugar energy. So then they're spiked up when they get back into the classroom, and they start trailing off once they get time to lunch. And I wanted to thank Ray and everyone at Food Services for making a big effort to really improve, school lunch at McKinley and such. He's taken feedback that's been given to him by our 6th graders, and he's made some changes which have been good. And so I'd be interested in, this happened recently, so I'd be interested to see how things, are down the line. But what I've seen in the past few years with lunches is we have picky kids. And you can tell that they're choosing what they eat based on what they're eating at home. And if they don't like what they see on the menu, often I'm not going to pick very much. And so then it goes not eating very much breakfast, not eating very much during their snack, not eating very much during their lunch, and then they continue on through the day. When they go to, if they go to Boys and Girls Club, and a lot of kids go to Boys and Girls Club, they offer some foods, and it's kind of the same thing. And so it's just this trend of not eating very much that I feel is really affecting their performance in the classroom. And so I know in the past, McDowell worked with Petaluma Bounty, and Petaluma Bounty would come in every once in a while, and they provide kids with some kind of nutritional snack, something for them to try. Hopefully they would like it. And that was nice just because it was always something exciting. I remember there was one type of broccoli, and I don't know the name of it, but it looked like a King Cooper or like a Mario character's shell. And all the kids got super excited about it. Or like different colored carrots. I'm like, wait, carrots come in red and purple too? And they're like, so it was exciting for them to see that. Ray's offered to come in with different types of foods to educate the kids, and I think that's a good step forward in the right direction in terms of nutrition.
Matt, just 30 seconds.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I would definitely love to see some more support in the area of nutrition at my school, just because there are a lot of kids who receive the free and reduced lunches. And it's been a long time that I've seen this type of trend, and I would like to see some kind of change in it.
Okay, thank you. And now I'm gonna make it easy on you because you have another card if you want to speak on a publication article. So why don't you stay up there and take another 5 minutes?
Okay. I probably won't need 5 minutes for this one.
Okay.
But recently a Workers' Rights Board released a report on some findings, and they had some recommendations, and so I was going to be speaking about the recommendation under leadership found on pages 14 and 15, that being section C. And the recommendation they gave is that the district use a collaborative approach towards budget matters, making the budget a little more transparent, and having line item budget kind of more accessible to its employees. And I've been on the negotiation. I think that this would be very helpful, especially if there were information released on like the district website. I feel like it would really speed up the process in some ways. Right now, like when PFT requests information, we will request the information, and then sometimes we'll get the information back right away, or it might be a little bit later. But then we have to go back and talk as a negotiating group about what that information means in the budget and how can we use it on our side. And I feel that if the information was already there on the website, we'd be able to be like, know what we are going to be talking about with the budget already in hand instead of having to ask for it. Also, I feel like that would enhance some trust. It would increase it. I feel like that right now we're still building trust, and I would like to just continue to work at improving that in our district, because I feel like we as a whole have we have a very important client, and I want to make sure that they're always on top. I want to make sure that we, as staff, the board, the CSEA, PFT, and the admins are all working together to make those improvements. Lastly, I would like to invite you guys to come to some committees, if you can. If you guys see you stop in for the tech committee. But a lot of really good decisions big decisions are being made there, and we'd love to see you there. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So segueing into budget, why don't we have Sandra Larson, you wanted to speak on the budget?
I recently attended the school services presentation on the governor's proposals for the 2015-16 school year. It was last month. I went there with Steve, Ray, and Debbie. I left that presentation feeling better about the state of education in California. From the moment the presentation began, it was clear that even the most conservative of presenters firmly believed that the economy was strong and funding for education was improving. Here is the summary from that report. As we detail the governor's budget proposals, they stand in stark contrast to the negative context in which we began planning the years 2008-9 through 2012-13. We are in a very different place economically, and that gives us the opportunity to put our children in a very different place. Our challenge as educators is to make sure that every child benefits from the uncommon opportunities we have before us. Today, we are grateful for the opportunities that lie before us. So you can imagine my shock. There were many comments made that day, I went ahead myself, that further led me to believe that our financial picture was brighter. For example, one of the presenters said that there would even be better news at the May revise due to the governor's conservative budget numbers. A presenter also stated that districts that had stretched themselves to give their teachers, they called the stakeholders, a substantial pay increase and were worried that they could not afford it, now knew they had the money they needed. Finally, at the end of the presentation, the presenter said that districts should not use LCAP as an excuse not to pay their employees what surrounding districts are paying. He went on to say districts need to be creative or they would not be able to compete with surrounding districts when hiring and keeping quality teachers. I was a little shocked, to say the least, when I attended a budget meeting the very next week and learned that our district is not benefiting from all this good economic news. It is true we have declining enrollment, but doesn't that lead to less staff and less costs in other areas as well? The last budget I saw did not adjust expenses for fewer students. I was reminded again that this district continually underestimates income and overestimates expenses, usually by about $2 million. This has been true for as long as I've been on the budget committee. It reminds me of a fable we read in the 2nd grade called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. In that story, the boy guarding the sheep cries wolf so many times that the townspeople do not believe him when there actually is a real wolf. The district continues to cry wolf even in the face of incredible economic news. It just doesn't ring true. How could our district be in such dire straits with other surrounding districts have already given their teachers and classified staff a respectable and in some cases retroactive pay increase? Finally, please do not think that PFT is not alarmed with declining enrollment. We are. Is there any correlation with low teacher morale? Hopefully, we began to work together to create a district that will once again attract students from other districts. The audited 2013-14 budget revealed that this district has a 10.7% reserve. This board can direct their representatives to negotiate a fair wage increase for our members. Thank you.
Remember, we're going to not do that, please. Steve, could you maybe elucidate a point for me? Reserves, we have total reserves versus unappropriated, right? Can you maybe explain a little bit of that difference?
So the 10.7% reserves is ending fund balance. She's using the two terms interchangeably. So a significant portion of our ending fund balance is restricted for categorical programs and specific purposes, such as parcel tax, lottery funds, Title I, and other funds.
Meaning we couldn't use that for wages even if we wanted to?
Correct.
Okay.
And so, when we review the budget with the board, we look at the unappropriated reserves, which are the funds that you could use for that purpose. That is a common occurrence using reserves and ending fund balance interchangeably.
So we're just for the public,
Well,
where's unappropriated projected or where?
Our projection for the end of the current year is that our unappropriated reserves will be, including our reserve for economic uncertainties, the required 3%, and the unappropriated reserves will be approximately 6%, which in our district would already meet the Prop 2, if it stays in effect, requirement. But it's not, that's something that the governor is proposing to address, Prop 2 as far as the reserve requirement for school districts as well.
Okay, thank you. So now we have, let's see, in the same arena, Mary Beth Cohen talking about relationships between Petaluma City Schools and the teachers. There's two of you on this subject, Mary Beth, so you each get full 5 minutes.
Okie dokie, or I shall be focused. Yeah, if you don't already know me, I'm Mary Beth Cohen, and I teach first grade at McNair Elementary. I wanted to talk to you tonight about the Workers' Rights Report. Many of you may have seen the editorial in the Close to Home section of the Press Democrat yesterday. It's called A School District's Greatest Asset, Teachers. And I thought they did a very nice job of trying to clarify the findings made by the North Bay Workers' Rights Board concerning relations between the Petaluma City Schools and the Petaluma teachers. I know that all of you received a copy of that report, and it's unfortunate that it couldn't be placed on the agenda tonight, but I would like to speak with you about one of the main recommendations of the report. And that is namely, that teachers and district management alike take the initiative to break the cycle of recrimination that permeates the district. I feel confident in saying that I speak for all teachers when I say we care passionately about our students and are committed to doing our very best to educate them. I also feel confident in stating that I'm sure that all of you on the board and in this audience share the passion. Over the past few years, there have been several important issues that have been raised. Several important issues that have raised concerns with teachers in the community and about which we've come before the board to share our concerns. Some examples of these are the layoff of the bilingual instructional assistants, the extension of the kindergarten day, and the implementation of Harry's gradebook. With our experience in the classroom, working with students on a daily basis, teachers feel we have much practical expertise to share with the district as it considers changes to educational programs. The school board has no way to know about our concerns, possible alternatives, or other points of view unless we speak up. And school board meetings provide us the most efficient venue for doing so. What may have been misinterpreted in the past by some as vitriol, I would like to say, has rather been an expression of passion, a passion to do what's best for our students. As professionals, teachers actively seek ways to improve our programs. We're not afraid of change, and in fact, we embrace it when it serves the best interests of our students. However, we feel obligated to speak out when programs are implemented that have not been well thought out, or when programs are not provided with the proper support to succeed. Ultimately, it's the students who bear the brunt when, for example, there are no instructional assistants to support 28 young kindergartners and 1 teacher in an all-day classroom. Another example is students are the ones who are most affected when the computers go offline in the middle of a lesson. As professionals, I hope you understand that we will never be afraid to speak up for what we believe is in the best interest of our students. And I'm sure you members of the board want us to be any other way. I'd like to acknowledge something that you brought up, Mr. Badley, that you're in a challenging position during this public comment time because you can't really respond to our comments. And I hope you understand that we don't construe that as indifference. We know you are also committed to the students of our community. So therefore, I encourage you to seek out other opportunities for communicating with teachers, other school staff, parents, and community members. It has been very heartening to recently see some school board members out visiting our sites during the school day. And I would personally like to thank Ms. Ellis, Mr. Badley, Ms. Kolbowski for coming to my classroom at McNair. We'd love to continue seeing more of you and see you continuing this outreach. I'd like to encourage you to come visit after school as well so that we might have more time to really share ideas when we're not busy teaching the students. One of you recently stated that we're a family, and I hope you don't think of us as a dysfunctional one. Rather, I would like to encourage all of us to think of ourselves as an extended, egalitarian family where arguments are thoughtfully considered from both sides and where diverse opinions are sought out and valued. I believe it's time for all of us to lay aside any misunderstandings or misconceptions from the past. In their report, the Workers' Rights Board made 2 recommendations that I find key.
Susan, just so you know, you're within 30 seconds.
I'm so close. The first is to reestablish a positive working relationship and rebuild trust and respect between the district and the teachers. The second is to honor the trust agreement and return to a shared decision-making model that makes teachers an essential component of this decision-making process. I think at this point in time, all of us stand on the threshold of a great opportunity to rebuild our relationships. I choose to believe that you hear our voices. I choose to believe that you support working collaboratively to build a strong alliance of teachers, classified staff, administrators, parents, and community members, all working together for the good of the students of Petaluma. Tonight, I would like to symbolically extend my hand to you as the hand of all teachers who stand ready and willing to move forward. Let's move forward together. Thank you.
So let's see, we have Kim Sharp on negotiations and movement.
Copy mid-edit. Good evening. I know you all probably know who I am, but I know I'm supposed to introduce myself. I'm Kim Sharp. I'm a parent in the district. I am a teacher at Costa Grande High School. I am also the president of Petaluma Federation of Teachers. And I first want to thank you for the opportunity to address the developments with negotiations, the North Bay Workers' Rights Board results, and my first feelings of hope. The Federation's negotiating team is ready and eager for the mediation process to commence on Friday. Although this is not the way we anticipated returning to the table, at least we will be back at the table, and we're very excited about that. Our hope, always, is to move forward. We have important work to do, and the Federation is ready and enthusiastic for that work. Our teams need to work together, however, and find that way to move forward. No other way is possible. The Federation is also ardently anticipating an open, public dialogue about the publication produced by the North Bay Workers' Rights Board. The report was created through intense study, personal meetings, and testimony by teachers, students, and community members. The findings by the board, which was comprised of educators and community leaders, have been published and debated through the media. I have copies here for you, just in case it missed you. I doubt it did, but I wanted to make sure you had it. The Federation is hopeful that honest, constructive dialogue can develop from this report. We, meaning the board and the Federation members, all members, need to have this discussion openly, in the same room, face-to-face, and actively listen to each other. We have a wonderful opportunity to create positive change, and I, for one, am ecstatic about the opportunity to do so. It's been a very long time since I have felt this hopeful. There are many ways that the Federation, the district administration, and the school board members can build trust once again, and I firmly believe that this can be done. The first step in rebuilding this trust, however, is to please, and this is my plea to you, agendize the North Bay Workers' Rights Board's findings and what the school board plans to do with this information. I have already sent a formal request to have this done, and being new to doing this, I missed the deadline, so I apologize for that. But I do look forward at the next board meeting on February 24th to start this important dialogue. Again, I am feeling hopeful for the first time in over a year, and I really enjoy feeling hopeful. We are finally in a place to move forward. There's money from the state. Yay. There's an active place to have negotiations, and now we also need to create
the place for dialogue. Please join the Federation in this movement toward the future. Thank you.
So thank you, audience. You did a great job. We do have a few more speaker cards here, but, and I didn't make them, I did make them last on purpose, but only because they're agendized items. And so you'll be able to speak as long as you want on an agendized item. Well, not as long as you want, but what's that? Longer. That'll be agenda item L.11, and that's going to the superintendent hiring process committee, what have you. So that would be the three people that want to speak on that. You will speak on the agenda side. So, reports on activities and correspondence of school board members. Let's see, I have a list here. We had breakfast at CASA with Ray Giorgiano, so it was kind of nice to hear the McKinley School presentation. Sherry and I had the privilege of going over there at Ray's invite and seeing what a great job he's done with the cafeteria. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I was just going to thank you very much. It was very timely, Matt, if you're still in the room.
Yeah, he's there.
Hiding?
Yeah.
Hiding. No, other Matt. You too, Matt, but this Matt.
Teacher Matt.
I'd heard from you. Yeah, very timely. So I don't even know what brought Ray and I together to start working on school lunches, but it's been great educating people about the school lunches. And I was very impressed because Ray brought food from all other districts and some companies supplying food to other districts. And we did a nice little food sampling, and our food was remarkably better. So I was very happy with that. And it was good. And then we did the same thing. We went over to Grant and we ate elementary school lunch, which was also very awesome. And Ray is looking to start some more great programs. You should talk to him, Matt, so I don't waste time right now. But, okay, so good. So I was very excited. So something kind of fun to do.
So then we had visits to McKinley School for the 6th grade gate over there, and then a site visit, 5th grade revolution simulation. We had board members had a meeting with staff over at CASA. Then we had also had a Casa Grande site visit, and then attended some basketball games, which is the season du jour, and did some announcing at Petaluma High. And then, Mary, you had a letter or something you wanted to report.
We've been getting a lot of feedback about the workers' rights thing, and I just wanted to clarify something because I got more than one comment that I thought was confusing, so I just wanted to share publicly so that if others felt the same way. I had an email from George Beeler saying that he was disappointed that we did not present our case at the Workers' Rights Forum. And I just wanted to clarify that we were invited to attend, but we were excluded from presenting our case. So I just wanted to make sure that the public knew that. And even if we had been invited to attend, there were so many issues on negotiations, we are not allowed legally to comment on them while negotiations are going on. So we would not have been able to, present issues, facts, etc., that would have enriched the discussion that night. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear because people are confused by what we have or have not done. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other activities or correspondence report? Okay, we'll move on to the agenda. Approval of consent agenda by consolidated motion. So that's,
moved. Second.
okay. Any discussion?
I'm good.
No,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Move on. Going to K, action items. So K1, Administration Human Resources. We'll look at the 2015 CSBA Delegate Assembly ballot.
So moved. Second.
Some discussion? Steve, you want to? Who wants to talk about that? You want to, Mary?
No, I noted on the candidate's application that she referenced the coming concern of the funding of LCFF having to support the increase, the tripling of the CalSTRS funding that all districts will be required to support, as well as the increases that teachers will be required to support without any new money. And so besides that one particular item, I thought her application looked very complete and would be a good candidate.
I forget, who's the person that's supposed to check the box in that one?
Oh, no, that's a different thing. Yeah. No, we have to vote on this particular candidate.
On Diana, that's Diana.
Yes, right.
Steve, you want to just hit the high point of that? Because I remember our last budget report, that got addressed about the delta that's going to be created.
Right, well, item K.2.4 is a request for us to join the CalSTRS funding.
You want to talk about that?
I'll talk about it under that.
All right. Well then, is there any other discussion on our proposed candidate here? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so next item would be, let's see, this one will light everybody up. K.1.2, alternative holiday. So I think everybody will like this one. So do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, discussion?
Well, Ron's here. If you want.
Ron, you want to explain how you're trying to run all the holidays in 2 weeks?
It's actually something that we do every year.
I know.
We have we can move Admissions Day, and so we have annually moved it to the day before Thanksgiving. And so I guess we are deciding California was admitted to the nation at a different time than it was, but it has worked pretty well for this district for a number of years.
So our kids aren't going to confuse Thanksgiving Day with Admission Day, right?
No, it's the day before.
I know. When the test comes up, when was California admitted to the Union?
Yeah.
Turkey Day is not
Yeah, probably won't say
it's, we do this every year.
Yes.
Okay, and it gives everybody a nice long break, and people who want to fly and get away have an extra day, so I think.
Yes, actually, we extended it more.
And it keeps our ADA, right, we don't lose
Yeah.
the ADA.
Yes, the ADA was.
All right, any discussion, comments? No. All right, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, when you want to stay, Cal.
Yeah, Ron, you might just stay there, because we're at K.13, this is student attendance calendar for the 25-15.
I move.
Okay,
Second.
discussion? I said 2015, 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
2025.
it's going to be a process a little bit. Actually, it's contractually, but we have a committee of, PFT sends the vice president of elementary, junior high, and secondary. There are 2 classified employees, confidential employee, and a secondary and an elementary principal, and I facilitate that meeting. And so we look at, primarily we look at what we've done the year before and look at the calendar, make some decisions on what we think is the best, the best plan for moving forward. Usually, those decisions, in the past, the county has come together, brought all the districts together to have that discussion, but what happens at every time at that is everybody looks at Santa Rosa and Petaluma and says, what are you guys doing? And they said, okay, that's what we'll do too. And I did, after our meeting, talk to the assistant superintendent for HR for Santa Rosa, and we have essentially the same calendar. So what we did is we came up with most of the dates, and then created a survey for some alternate possibilities. One of them was the President's Day, to whether we wanted 2-3 days, weekends, or 4 days, and the other was the third choice for professional development. It was 75% of the people who participated selected 2-3 days rather than a 4-day, and the 3 professional development days were a little bit more spread out, but the day before our spring break had the most people that selected that. There was some other comments that I received and shared with the committee about, you know, possible alternatives to particularly the professional development day. Some people were wondering about April or May, but the committee really felt that the testing that goes on at that time with the SBAC and AP exams would create difficulties. We did, though, switch the professional development days from our original plan at the beginning of the year due to some feedback we got from members in the educational community, their feedback. I think that is, for the most part.
Did the committee develop the survey that was sent out?
Yes, yes.
And that was sent out to all classified?
All members, yeah, every employee. So yes, it went out to everybody.
Ron, any parent input or what's the input at that level? Or they just weigh in?
Well, the input we had was, if you'll remember this year, we had, after winter break, we had Monday and Tuesday, we had a work day and a professional development day. And I heard from a board member and a number of elementary principals in particular that they got quite a few complaints about having their kids for, you know, the extra couple days or us taking off those extra couple of days before they started. Yes, and so we switched that back to what we've done in the past. Have a work day on that Monday and the professional development day later in the year. Sorry about that. Any other questions?
I've had a lot of parents ask me over the years about how do they get on that committee. And I recognize that it's an employee-based committee, but we've had a number of times where we've had parents have valid concerns about the calendar committee, and it would be nice to have some sort of vehicle into which they can provide input, other than just, you know, the ones that get angry enough to come to a board meeting and complain, because they do that too. It would be nice to be a little bit more proactive and embrace them in the planning. So just want to share that.
Well, I will share that the biggest driver of our calendar is the calendars throughout the county.
Right.
And our calendar in the Santa Rosa City, of course, drives a lot of this, and our calendar is very much aligned with Santa Rosa City because and the largest cost factor is special education transportation. That the programs, many of the programs exist in the Santa Rosa corridor.
Right.
We don't want to build it around the soccer conundrum that's going on?
Yeah, not in regards to changing the.
No, but, you know, our teachers have been fairly flexible. I think in each year you've kind of, this is built on last year's. It hasn't deviated that much, has it?
It's pretty close to last year's calendar.
Did we get a lot of flack from last year's calendar? From any one segment?
Not that I heard. You know, I mean, there are people that would like us to start later in the year.
Sure.
And, you know, we usually share, even in that committee annually, that, you know, we set that up so that we break the semester in December right before winter break, other than what we used to do at the end of January. And part of that is the hope that our students, instead of doing projects and a lot of reading and extra homework over the winter break, they actually have a break, their schoolwork's done, and so they don't have anything to do and they actually can spend time with their families.
I think that was a big success. I think the teachers and the students appreciate it because both of them would be stressed coming back in, so it's nice. I mean, that break, I was someone who's had 4 go through the system, and and one that didn't get that advantage. The other 3 had more fun over Christmas, I'll tell you that.
How do we align to the junior college?
I think we're aligned better than we used to. It used to be problematic when we started later and the junior college started earlier. Students that wanted to take junior college classes in the fall, when they got back, they had already begun and they missed the deadline for registering for classes.
I think we're within days of the same start and end.
But spring break is different this year.
Spring break for the JC and the district have been Our spring break's right in the middle of the second semester.
Okay. I thought we tried to
No,
align.
we haven't
No.
aligned
Okay.
spring break with the
All right.
high school.
No, but it weirdly aligns with the UC this year.
It's,
Yeah.
First time in
that's unusual.
5 years.
Yep.
Ron, why the different start dates for elementary and secondary?
It's just, it's the,
Yeah.
the work day. The secondary teachers like to have a work day, right when they come back from their winter break. Traditionally, it's been to make sure grades are done, and so it used to be, well, and so they get a work day then, and elementary teachers get a work day before school starts, because they would prefer 2 work days before the beginning of the school.
And that again is based on input from your committee and.
Yes, yes, and that's been pretty consistent. We did for a while, try some other things, but that's been pretty consistent for a few years.
Ron, did anybody look into on our end date? I think you have it here as June 3rd, because we have had these unenviable situations in the past where some of the spring sports, their playoffs, I think one year was the boys, one year was the girls, but they roll past that. So you actually are in this unenviable position of having children who have graduated and then will go play a finals game or a tournament game or something. Did we talk to NCS about that, or?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what CIF or NCS is, well, so we use the CIF that's controls, because those are the state.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, did we look at that at all? Not that we should gear our whole year around it, but at least lobby those guys to suck it back a little bit.
And the problem
Maybe
they
end it by
have
the end
is
of
that
May.
schools are ending, in Southern California, schools end later historically than they do in Northern California. And again, to have, we're starting as late as we can to have the first semester in.
By the 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you'll see the breakdown, you know, there's more days already in the second semester, so we went any later.
Yeah. I'm not suggesting we should extend it, I just wondered if there's some way to get those knuckleheads to line it back up, you know, have kids still playing on June 15th. You know, they don't go that late, it's usually a weekend past or something.
Yeah, and it has impacted graduation this past.
Right, that's what I'm saying, remember one time there was a state meeting,
And
the
people
kids
miss
couldn't walk.
graduation.
Right, well, I mean, they're loyal to their team, but that's a bad thing to miss, but anyhow, I hate seeing kids being that unenviable position, and families too, it's, anyhow. Any other questions?
I just have one other one. The calendar committee, is its makeup contractual? It's part of both contracts?
It is in the contract, yes.
Does it-
The members,
Does it preclude, though, a parent representative? I mean, for if nothing else, just appearance, does it preclude the ability
Parents, we don't do
to-
anything for appearance.
Does, I mean,
well, it
realizing
means-
that our schedule
it-
on is tight, I mean, realizing that we don't have a whole lot of flexibility, but, I mean, to Mary's point, the most angry phone calls that I get relate to somebody's European vacation. I mean, you love that phone call, right? But we get them, and so I'm just curious. Does the contract preclude having one?
the language states who's on the committee, not necessarily who can't be on the committee, and I mean, it is, the contract is a living document, and certainly,
We like the PTA.
we certainly have the representatives from all sides in the room, so they, you know, we've all heard and certainly could have that conversation.
Maybe you could show me.
The count, yeah, okay, we'll share that.
And the other thing, and I forget about that when that the 45-15 schools are duly represented on that committee, hopefully. I mean, obviously they have different schedules and different breaks.
If you have noticed, 45-15 calendars are not before the board, they'll be before the board on the 24th. Fran and Amy are working together.
We'll just talk about that.
And we'll bring those calendars back in. Typically, they get very close, they haven't always been the same between the two schools. So we'll see what they come back with. Amy, Friday, right?
Yeah, we'll have it to you guys on Friday. We're talking with, I think Fran may have already talked with her staff, but we're talking on Wednesday.
Right.
And then we'll provide our input
separate committees, or it's one committee doing both?
That's school, those schools work, from within their own schools.
We send our feedback to the elementary principal rep that already worked with Ron on this.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ron, your last calendar.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so.
We have a motion and a
all-
second,
we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. On to business services, K2-1, purchase orders.
Second.
Everybody looked at it?
Yep. I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
There's a purchase for, I think it's Castano restaurant goods, but it's listed under technology.
Is that your drop
I
camera?
don't know if it's something that got missed. I'm sorry. Where is it listed?
It's, it was bought for, one of the CTE, the culinary programs. So if it's listed under technology, that's an interesting observation, and I'll check it.
Okay, I just didn't know if it, I thought maybe it was for the cafeteria.
Oh, it's
for the
probably, you know
computer
why?
system,
It's
or-
because Lori is, in charge of technology and is, approving the technology budgets. It's an internal personnel thing. Our secretary, who is doing CTE, is connected to Lori in the system. So it probably says technology because of that.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Because
sure.
of, yeah, who's the manager?
It's who's
is
being
the
managed, who's managing this, the,
Fund.
fund.
Yeah. Steve, I had a question on Professional Tutors of America. We've got SES tutoring for McKinley, McDowell, and Kenilworth Junior High.
Out of Title I,
It's 40,000.
yeah, Jane, you want to address
That
it?
is a requirement for being in program improvement, beginning in year 2 of program improvement for any school that is in program improvement. Requirement by the federal government that we spend, a percentage of funds on SES, supplemental educational support, which is the tutoring. And it has to be provided by an outside agency because we are not, certified as a district to provide it. It's a long and arduous process, and we are anticipating SEA finally being reauthorized and maybe this being a change.
Okay, that sounds like a good change, but.
It is restricted funds, it's Title I funds.
Title I funds.
Feds, of course, fully
Federal
federal
funds.
wink, wink. Right.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay, so then the other question I have, Steve, is one workplace. So with all that
One
was all the
workplace.
furniture that we did, the new furniture?
That's the furniture pilot, correct.
Okay.
Out of bond funds.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Nope.
All in favor? Okay, let's move on. K2-2, list of expenditures,
So moved. Second.
discussion, questions. I'm going to recuse myself and abstain from any voting or discussion.
On K2?
Yeah, I'm just because.
You got another one?
Oh, Phoebe?
Aye.
Okay. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion abstained.
401?
K2-3, ratification of the Terra Verde Renewable Partners to do analysis required to submit Prop 39 energy project plans.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
If you have any questions, we have Amy King, our energy expert, to address them.
Why don't you give everybody a little synopsis, Jamie?
Sure. Again, my name is Jamie King, the energy specialist. We're here to enter a contract with Terra Verde. We actually currently have a contract with Terra Verde to manage and continue supporting data for solar projects at Petaluma High School and also at Casa Grande High School. Prop 39 was voted on November 6, 2012, and it's California Clean Energy Job Act. Right now, we are looking at about $2.3 million in allocations for energy efficiency. I've also attended some classes, some webinars on Prop 39. We were faced with some challenges because we entered a program 4 years ago. And some of the challenges that we face is we had no low-hanging fruit. We've done everything we can to save it, and it's truly amazing what a lot of these people have done out here to save the energy. So myself and Superintendent Steve Bowman met with several people to try and basically narrow down who would help us secure these funds and help plan as well. So we'd like to join Terra Verde continuing our relationship with them. Currently, right now, Terra Verde has 29 school districts assigned partnerships under Prop 39.
So, do we have an idea of the type of service or savings or projects that are possible? Because there's that exposure of if there's a project and that's bid and we don't take it, there's a $20,000 fee. So what type of savings are we hoping to possibly find?
So I can touch on that, Deputy Steve. So we are required to meet an SRI of 1.5. I think Prop 39 and the government also realized there were some challenges we voiced to them, our diligence that we've done. So now they've made some changes to part of the agreement is before the SRI was site specific. Now we're able to combine all the sites together to achieve the SIR. So by doing that, we're looking at improving outdoor lighting from metal halides to LEDs. We're looking at improving building envelopes. I know Steve and I are on the same page about window improvements. Also including our EMS, energy management system we have for our secondaries that also need to be upgraded. So there's numerous things, and also HVAC equipment.
But to Mary's point, I mean, I hope everybody appreciates that if we don't accept a bid, we're out $20,000.
Right.
If they bring otherwise qualified service providers to the table and we say, we're not doing it.
Yeah, again, qualified
Kind of
means that we
time
have savings associated with that. So if they bring us.
Yeah, but sometimes, Steve, you know it is, it's a front-end load. You get all the savings if you just sign up with us for 20 years. You get all, I mean, savings, can be a nebulous concept sometimes. I have to pay a bunch of money up front to get all my savings on projections of, ever increasing energy costs. I mean, that's kind of the solar power thing, right? I mean, we'll go ahead, you'll get lots of savings, but you gotta load it up on front. So, I mean, just as long as the board's comfortable with that, but everybody's gotta appreciate that.
Right.
And then I noticed too, Jamie, and Steve, maybe you've looked at it as well, but asset management fee, it says that we, in addition to the 7.25% of the total project contract cost, that we're willing to pay 2.2 cents per kilowatt hour as an asset management services fee. So, and that increases by 3.5% every year. Okay.
I wish I had more information on that, but I don't actually at this time. I will share with this that we do have to go through a process through the government to get these approved. So none of these can be approved without the SIR being met. That I know, because that's something that we've also stressed to the government or the Prop 39 board that these are a lot of challenges all districts are facing right now because we're doing diligence.
Well, this applies to client-owned projects. So.
I think that's if we implement solar.
Right.
We're not looking.
That's how I took it. We do our own thing, right?
Right.
But it excuses stuff we've already done, I hope.
Yeah, it does.
We mean, solar, cost of solar.
Terra Verde was actually the company that brought those projects to us.
Right.
Right.
So.
And did we enjoy our relationship with them the first go around?
Very much.
Absolutely, that's why we're back.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Didn't know what your dating protocol was. Get that confused, I don't. Okay, anybody have any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, so that'll bring us to Steve, one of the things you mentioned, K.24, joining the CalSTRS Funding Coalition authorization. The board allows the district to become part of the coalition to advocate for a separate appropriation to fully fund the California State Teachers Retirement System.
So moved.
Okay. Steve, you want to address that? Or?
Yeah, so as we know, the CalSTRS rates are going up for both the employee and the employer, a little bit at the state level, but not as significantly as it is the employee or the employer. Our rates are, as a district, are going up from 8.25, which they had been for a couple of decades.
Pretty steady.
Up to 19.1 over the next several years. As a percentage of our budget, the calculation by the CalSTRS Funding Coalition is that we're going to go from about 3% of budget for paying for retirement to about 9% of our budget paying for retirement over that period of time. The other...
And that comes out of unappropriated reserve.
That comes out of, yeah, that comes, actually the first dollars that we're going to get from any increase under the local control funding formula, the way it's currently configured, will be to support the increase in retirements. The part of the change that school services is proposing, and they're actually the consultant for this organization, is to move it away from the local control funding formula. Because as the board will recall, the local control funding formula is established to reestablish our purchasing power for 0708 by 2021, which means the 0708 rate will be increased by cost of living increases over that period of time. But if you take the STRS increase off of that, our purchasing power for other things other than retirement will not get back to the 0708 level. So,
right, so we're losing ground.
We'll be losing ground unless they move it outside of the local control funding formula. This coalition is advocating on behalf of school districts throughout the state for the legislature and the governor to reconsider, at least within the local control funding formula, and hopefully reconsider the contributions so that they'll stay more like they are now as far as proportional for the state contribution, employee contribution, and district contribution.
So who is this coalition?
It started by some school districts within the state using School Services of California as their advocate in Sacramento. And so they're asking school districts to join them at a fairly nominal fee.
So is the retirement fund underfunded? Is that why?
So the law passed to bring over the next 30 years to fully fund STRS, so that, you know, by the end of 30 years there will not be any underfunding of STRS. Currently, STRS is funded at approximately 85% of costs. And prior to the enactment of the law changing the rate, it was anticipated in 30 years that STRS would be broke under the current retirement estimates, actuarial studies.
The districts don't have a choice. You have to, it's the law.
Correct. Correct.
They're gonna keep us appraised of what they're doing?
Yes, they'll keep, and we will know what they're advocating for, well, we know what they're advocating for, and their success with legislation moving forward.
So what's gonna cost the joint?
Yeah, it's $1,000 for, that's for the entire, that's elementary and secondary, and yes, in the agenda.
Is that annually, lifetime, monthly?
It's $1,000 annually, so.
Okay.
And how much will the employee contribution, what's the proposed increase for this?
Ray, the employee contribution for STRS is going from 8% up to 9.
It's 8.88 this year and 10.73 next year.
Okay.
But it ultimately doesn't go up to like 19% or something like that?
No,
that's our side.
that's the
Our side.
employer contribution. What's the employee contribution going to?
It's at
Started at 8 and it's going
8%.
up to,
I thought it was 11 or 12.
yeah.
eventually.
Right.
I think
By
it
2021, it'll be,
tops out at 10 something. I
yeah, I
think.
thought it was 10 something as well, but it might be 11%. In that 10 to 11% range for the employee.
Why?
Employee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's significant.
So Steve, this coalition, or any of our other friends join us on this that would normally advocate for this? I mean, besides just districts, do we have anybody else out there?
I'm not sure in regards to the Ed Coalition consists of unions and the like, and they will, I mean, they're on board to argue. They're not joining this coalition of school districts that will be moving this issue forward with our legislators. I'm sure they'll be working with other organizations as well.
Any other comments? Questions?
I wish we could kind of all get on the same page on stuff like this, because together, significantly stronger than separate fighting at the heels.
Yeah, it just seems like this is the state's way of hiding and pushing costs onto the employees and the employers with no new money. And so if we.
Or requiring a significant portion of new money to go towards this, and saying they're giving us this much when in reality.
It's not that much.
Our costs are going up substantially.
It's almost akin to the special assessment districts that went away, that.
Redevelopment agencies.
Redevelopment agencies that just kind of went away because.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
K25, agreement authorization with True Market Solutions for participation in First Sustainability Circle in the amount of $3,750 via general funds.
So, second.
Discussion?
So how does this relate to what we discussed with the Terra Verde agreement, and is there a principal or a teacher that's really eager to be a part of this?
You want to address it for us, Jamie?
Do we have Jamie and then?
Sure, and then I also have Miles Hoffman, who's with Market Solution.
Okay.
So as we entered the energy program, one of the things that really enforced is creating a circle, sustainable circle. And it couldn't come at a better time when Market Solution came to us about this. And this is also a program through PG&E, so I definitely checked with our PG&E rep and really suggested that we be a part of this. It also helps bringing together what we're trying to accomplish as a family and a group. So I think by having one teacher and a principal would help definitely support and continue supporting our energy efforts. So I'd also like to introduce you to Miles Hoffman and talk a little bit about the program as well.
Well, thank you very much, Jamie, and thanks, Steve, for bringing Jamie to my attention. You guys are a real champion there for energy efficiency and sustainability. I think one of the things that brought us up here to Petaluma was really the drive for sustainability within this community. I don't know if many of you know or know of Tom Isaac at Corsco. Tom sent his very first golf course through the circle about a year and a half ago, and they had such a tremendous experience. He's now sending all of his courses through. He brought us up here and introduced us to the chamber, to the city, to Ingrid Verde, and Ingrid saw this really as an opportunity to promote Petaluma as a truly sustainable community and really enforce the brand of Petaluma to attract sustainable businesses and sustainable families to this area. So one of the things we like to do when we work within a city or a community is to bring together different industries, from business to government to the school systems, so that it really does get through every vein within that community. Briefly, what we do is we bring together 10 organizations at a time, and we go through a program that's very holistic, not just addressing energy efficiency, which is PG&E's piece of this, where they really see this, but really get into behavior, water, waste, communications within the community, climate change and the interface with business and how that will affect funding in the future, procurement, green cleaning, all those topics. And what we do is we have coaches that facilitate this and help our participants build a 5-year strategic action plan with initiatives laid out, with all the investment dollars, the ROI, and the calculations needed to make those decisions going forward. So we make the business case for doing sustainable initiatives, and we really try to drive it into the culture of the community around. So I'll pause there for any questions that you guys might have.
I would just like to share, one of the big advantages to the district is joining nine other organizations within the community, working with the city to address the sustainability and energy savings. So I think it's a very great opportunity for us to partner with a number of organizations. And I'm not sure, Miles, if you can share some of the organizations that will be part of the cohort.
Sure, the other two who have signed the agreement currently right now are the city and Petaluma Valley Hospital. But just to give you an idea of the diversity that we're looking for, this Thursday I have 5 meetings here, including another circle preview like Steve attended. It involves a sport club, a local creamery, a laundry service, property manager, machine shop, and a local bank. So you get these very diverse ideas and different eyes looking at your operations and the way that you're operating, and you get new ideas. It's, quite frankly, it's very similar to a classroom where you have a bunch of different backgrounds coming together and people coming at it from different views.
So Jamie, this in no way runs contrary or pulls against what you're doing with Terra Verde, right?
No.
Okay,
No, totally two separate.
it's not going to violate the exclusivity.
None whatsoever.
Okay.
I can just see if, since we already share fields with the city of Petaluma and their programs, that that's just an obvious water
Opportunities.
opportunity to talk about, so.
Say share might have been a generous comment. Share, they use ours.
So is we would be asked to pay half of the total fee and PG&E is offered to pay the other half? Or?
The portion for the district is $3,750.
Right.
PG&E also covers $3,750. And that's the only payment fee throughout the entire program.
That's our cost for the 5-year strategic plan and working with community on sustainability.
And I believe there was an attachment that had some of the projections that would work with school districts in Southern California. And quite frankly, you guys would be the first ones to go through it up here in Northern California. We've had other ones sign up but haven't started their service yet.
As Jamie said, our energy education program through Synergistic, we've really done the low-hanging fruit, saved over $1 million as far as energy use in the district. And now this will add on to that. So we're very confident that we will save more than the $3,750 cost to the district in the strategic planning, coming up with sustainability ideas to support our continued efforts to be green and a good neighbor within the community.
Right. That's important.
And I believe we can also utilize the Prop 39 funding for this program as well.
That's the kind of green we're talking about. You get to lead the discussion.
Yeah.
And it's true, it should be a Prop 39 expenditure.
Exactly.
All right. And any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
Thanks for laying it out.
All right, so onward to discussion information only. Have we read everything? Let's go to L.11. Might be somebody here that wants to talk about that maybe. Superintendent selection process. It's going to be probably a long discussion, but if nobody else has anything else to discuss on any of the others before we get to that?
I was happy to see L3-1, Education Services.
Okay.
Just very excited to see that course coming up and hopeful
As are we.
that
And both high schools have plans to implement that course.
that's what
this
was my
year.
next question.
Part of the change in the CTE offerings in the district, or secondary education offerings.
Great.
And under L3-2, are we speaking on board, Mike? Is that?
No, I said we'll hold off on L11 because it'll be a lot of people speaking.
Oh, okay, but if I have a comment about L3-2?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just, I spoke to Dave Rose and I've talked to Ms. Julie at Casa Grande about a district-wide code of conduct, not dealing with discipline issues, but just each high school has their own code of conduct, each sports team, each performing arts program, each band program. So talking about working with the principals and Dave Rose and some parent input on developing a district-wide code of conduct, that would be
Not a bad idea.
universal.
Let's start with elementary school and it'll be a natural
Just,
segue into junior high.
There's already
and high
grade
school.
standards implemented,
Right.
but citizenship,
Coordinate.
expectations.
For the participation in extracurricular
Yes.
activities, to have a consistent code of conduct for all sports and all activities.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Online, the technology bringing that in and
Right.
what goes on.
So they're all operating on the same page with that.
Yeah, so Dave
So they're
Rose is gonna
consistency.
start the
Yeah, real
conversation.
consistency.
Yeah, with the consistency. Like, the two high schools don't even have the same code right now.
Right.
So it makes sense for those two to at least be on the same page.
All in favor of Phoebe chairing that?
Just
discussion, just discussion.
Sort of comes under this board policy, but.
Just discussion, please.
But Dave Rose will take the lead and then it'll come before the
Okay,
board and
I think that's awesome.
input.
I don't see Dave in the meeting. Dave should have been in the meeting.
Anybody else have?
Anything to give Dave?
So let's, more work for Dave. So let's go to L.11, the superintendent selection process. And because the three who filled out the cards were so patient, waiting, who wanted to speak a public comment, we're going to let them go first. So I'm going to ask Tom Joint if he wants to come up. Is Tom here?
Good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity to say hello to you and to comment on what you have before you. It's a tremendous opportunity. You have a tremendous challenge. Having been in the district since 1972, when Gloria Gessima moved from McNair over to Petaluma High School and created a position for me, I've seen 5 superintendents come into the district. And I've worked for Les Meyer, and Jack Ives, Chuck Cadman, and was in the selection process for Carl Wong. I was in the selection process with Carl Wong. But anybody who knows Carl Wong knows it's very easy to come in second or third to him. So I have some understanding of the process. And what I want to share with you today and tonight is the importance of listening to your constituencies. I want to compliment also the leadership of the CSEA, the Federation, and all of the employee organizations for coming with, as Mary Beth Cohen said, an open hand. So with that in mind, my simple message is that the process about superintendent selection is as important as the actual woman or man who takes that job. And I would encourage you to try to come up with a process, and there's people who can do this, that's inclusive of opinion and insight from each of those constituencies, to include parents at our high school level and junior high level. Even students have a right and should have an opportunity to offer input. I believe that improves the quality of the decision, but most importantly, the person who is selected comes into that new position having looked at the criteria that the community, the district laid out, and knows that they've met it, and they have lived up to that. They've lived up in the interview process, at least to serving as the next superintendent of that district. And I want to, commend you for the challenge you have, commend you for obviously needing to take up this challenge, and the sooner the better. I think you folks are all aware of the timeline on these things. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Steve for his years of service. I speak as a person who worked beside him on cabinet. Marcia and I are both retired teachers. We're volunteers still in the district, and we have grandchildren at Cherry Valley. So this district is very near and dear to me, and the months ahead, my thoughts will be with you, and if I at any time can be of service or any volunteer role in that selection process, I would be honored to do that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's ask Lee Boyce to come up.
Good evening. I wanted to say hello, board members, rest of the community who's still here. My name is Lee Boyce. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the science department chair at Petaluma High. I was nominated as Sonoma County Teacher of the Year and was proud to represent Petaluma City Schools in that role. And in the 20 years that I've been here, Steve just came and gave me my 20-year pin last week, I have seen a lot of changes. Unlike the previous speaker, I've only seen 4 superintendents come and go here, but I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm happy because I think this is a crossroad of opportunity, that we have the opportunity to work together, to move forward with faith and trust. We all want what's best for students in this district. The educational leadership of this district is an important role, and I hope we'll take that plan as an important step. I'm happy that we have the chance to sort of start again and rebuild relationships and communication. We have the opportunity to work in choosing this new superintendent by putting in place some of the suggestions that were brought up by the North Bay Workers' Right Board to rebuild trust that will allow us to begin to work as a team and to move our relationship forward. I am amazed to say that after watching 4 superintendents come and go, I'm not quite sure what the process was by which they were hired. And after 20 years in the district, that seems a little strange. So I look forward to a transparent process and some collaboration with all the stakeholders to reinvigorate our shared decision-making. I'd love to see some kind of an outline of that hiring process so that we could all know what page we're going to be on, that allows the stakeholders to identify desirable characteristics for that future superintendent. As Tom pointed out, that superintendent knows what he or she is getting into so that they are a good fit for this community and this school district. That there are meetings with stakeholder groups of parents, community members, students, as well as teachers. That we actively recruit candidates so that we can look for the best person to lead us in this new endeavor. That we can put together a team of people who can give feedback to the board, who can help in any way to design the interview process or the scenarios as we do with principals and any other position that we set up to do for our leadership. As Susan said, I'm really glad to see this new thing. I'm welcome all of you to my classroom at any time. Most of you have been there at one point or another. And we really look forward to this future, and I wish Steve all the best. But I also look forward to us, getting going on not waiting too long to move forward on this. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker, Jessica Lebehan.
Lebehan.
What's that?
Lebehan.
Lebehan.
So, following Mr. Joint, I could just stand up here and say ditto, everything he said and everything you said as well. I think we're at a watershed moment, and I hope that we capitalize on it as a community. I've been heartened by small signs of improvement that I've seen and people have shared with me within the district, more site visits as an example. I think that this is an opportunity for the board to really demonstrate and operationalize this concept of shared decision making. I think this is a very tangible way to create a very transparent and open process. And so I just stand here and say, and I echo what both Mr. Joint said, and I'm sorry, what Lee said. I, as a parent at McNear, would love to participate in the process and support the board in the selection process. I know that the old Adobe district recently went through this process, and I just think that it's an opportunity for all of us to engage as constituents. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that has a comment on this matter? Okay. Board discussion. Troy?
I'll start. So when Steve gave his notice, Mike created an ad hoc committee because we have a concern, obviously, with the Brown Act, that this board can't act in concert unless we're in a meeting. So in order to do the groundwork that needs to be done to facilitate the search in a transparent and collaborative way, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be accomplished. We've met with our attorney. We've talked to a couple of other folks who are in the process. This is a discussion item tonight and not an action item. because we still have a little bit of work to do. We have things that we need to accomplish tonight, and we'll talk about those. But we also have, this will come back, Mike, I believe, on the next agenda for an actual action item with a complete and transparent timeline that we can put up on the board and make sure that everybody can see. And there won't be any surprises in the process. So what I have is a draft of some ideas that we need to discuss as a board to at least get ourselves going in the right direction, because to a number of different speakers' points, we've got a challenge ahead of us in regards with the number of other superintendent positions that are open or will be open, that we will be competing for qualified professionals. We've got Steve too at Marin, I think, at least. How many are Marin?
So there's 4 in Marin that are currently open, and 5 in Sonoma County that are currently open with the super.
How many?
5 in Sonoma County, and I know the county superintendent thinks there will be a few more.
So I think to Lee's point, and one other speaker, this is an opportunity. We want to make sure that we do everything that we can to do the best job we can as quickly as we can to make sure that we're, for lack of a better term, fishing from a lake and not a pump. We don't want to be the last people to the salad bar on this one. So, that being said, we have.
He's taking it from you now.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Mike took it from me. A couple of petaluma guys, right? We have some constraints that we have to work backwards from. And so whenever you do something like this, and I've done this on a professional basis, you work yourself backwards from your decision point. The contract that we eventually offer to the new superintendent has to be approved in a regularly scheduled board meeting. Okay, so in March, we only have one, and that's March 10th, and that's not going to be possible if we want to have a full and complete, exhaustive candidate pool. So that actually puts us all the way into April 14th, when we can air the contract for approval. That's the back end date, April 14th, okay? Can't fix that, that's gonna be what it's gonna be. We need to work ourselves forward from there to today to try to determine best steps and things that we need to do and process. So some of the things, I guess I want to start with some of the things that I would suggest that we do, and Mike, you jump in as we've had this discussion, that we need to do immediately, and then we can work our way through, as we're moving forward, we can work the process through, fine-tune the process through February 24th at our next board meeting as well. That won't slow anything down because we know our back end and we've got things that we can do on this front side. The front side things obviously that we need to do, we need to develop the job description and we need to get it posted quickly. Mike and I, again, because we have Brown Act limitations, cannot do a job description and have all 5 people at the board approve it. We can't do that, so I would suggest that we do that, again, as a committee. Everyone that I have spoken with tells me, Tom, maybe you can speak to this as well, that this will be a sought-after position. That there are going to be a lot of candidates that would look at this as an opportunity. And so we expect that we will have quite a number of people to choose from, we hope. Tom?
Yeah, I would like to second that, and the 2 gentlemen who were earlier mentioning the sustainability issue and the culture of this town is very, very positive. There's some other districts that are looking for superintendents. This is an extremely, yes, I'm a homeboy, but a very powerful community. This is a community that has banded together over tragedy and opportunity and done the right thing, the smart thing. And if they can look at board members in that interview process and say, I work with these people. Money, of course, is important, but the fit is one of the things that's crucial. The fit with you, fit with the Federation, fit with the community.
So in that regard, we want to expand the pool as great as we can. So we want to make sure we advertise throughout California. We're a large district. We're going to hopefully, I would think, Steve, be a step up for a number of superintendents that are already in their districts. I would think that we would get a lot of experienced applications.
Yeah, we're in the state of California, we're a medium-sized district. And we're right at the average sized district in the state. There's many more districts that are smaller than us. But, you know, when you look at 1,000 districts.
What's the mean, not the median?
Correct.
Did I get that backwards? Somebody help me. Median, not the mean?
We're the medium, not the mean.
So, anyway, getting back to the process. So what we need to do tonight, we need to direct Human Resources, which is already put together a flyer for Mike and I to take a look at and get it out there on EdCal.
Yeah,
EdJoin.
EdJoin is where it'll be advertised.
Immediately.
Correct, and that's where people in schools go to look for jobs, so it'll be out there where everybody's searching.
I would like to suggest that we immediately start soliciting input. I think that we need to start soliciting input from the community as soon as possible in order to give everybody the greatest voice possible. To that end, I would suggest that I will make a formal request to Kim, to Debbie over here, and to Confidential and Management, that we get feedback from you immediately on, as soon as you can, on what, from your perspective, we should be looking for. And I'll actually send you out something formal if you're all okay with that. Cool, okay. We need to, and I would like to suggest we do on February 28th, we need to schedule and we'll have to do this, I guess, at our next meeting to actually schedule a special meeting.
Correct.
But I would like to strongly urge us and you to calendar in that we have a special meeting, probably need to do it at a larger facility, do it on a Saturday, and have anybody and everybody come in and give us their feedback, exactly what they think we should be looking for, goals, objectives, need to have, and we can take that feedback. And I think that, you know, we can kind of run it as long as we need to run it.
We could do something like that where it's a concentrated period of time dedicated to that one issue.
Right.
Hand in the back, yes?
Hi. Can I request that when that happens, that robocalls happen to families in Petaluma so that, in both English and Spanish, so that it's an inclusive process?
And at the same time, we'd ask that you spread that word around.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
okay.
we want that auditorium filled. And it will not be here, so everybody hopefully can get a seat. And we're gonna do it, I think we talked about a Saturday, so it's as inclusive as possible for the public at large. And I think the board members are all willing to give their time. And like Troy said, we will be there as long as I guess we need to be there. I mean, I'm not gonna fall asleep there, but anyhow, yes.
So, that's great, and thank you for organizing all that feedback, because I think the community needs to be, you know, a vital role in this. I guess, questions from my members. So after all this feedback, then what?
Gotta let me get there.
Yeah, but we're trying to.
Okay,
We're noodling through it as, we're
And
noodling
again,
through
this
it as
is not yet an agenda item, this is a discussion
No,
item.
I understand.
Because to everyone else's point, there are things we need to accomplish now.
And this is the first
Yeah, this is
And
week
again,
from two.
Right,
ad
you
hoc,
had
not
just
for-
said that you had kind of drafted out things that you thought should happen, so I just wanted to make
I
sure
have.
that was, yeah, thank you.
I haven't shared it,
with us.
as, again, we're not in a meeting, so it's.
So was the date set for that?
I would suggest the 28th, February 28th, which is a Saturday.
Oh.
And I think that gives us plenty of time, it's 2 weeks.
And so that would have to be, since you're talking about all board members being present, have to be a scheduled board meeting, so.
It'd have to be a special
Next
board meeting,
meeting,
so you
the
need
board.
We're some good
need
sites.
agenda.
Is that enough time? We have 24th?
Yeah, to have a special board meeting.
Well, I
It's
think,
like Carrie said.
I mean, let's call it, if we're all sitting here talking about it in discussion.
Right, yeah.
Guess what, on the 24th, we're gonna ask you if you can be here on the 28th.
So, actually.
So, yeah, little heads up.
Plan on the
We're probably gonna vote on
No.
it.
Super
Yeah.
small to say
So
we
we
gotta
will
go
bring
to
back
the
to the next board meeting, and it does meet the criteria for a special board meeting as far as hours in advance of this. So we'll bring back on the 24th, an action item to establish a special board meeting on the 28th.
I don't think we have to have an action item, do we?
For a special meeting?
No, we
We
don't.
can create a, without action.
Yeah,
But you have to do it on the 24th, right?
no. We can just call a special board meeting.
Okay, for a special meeting.
So can we get a?
So,
I'm available.
so they can do that today?
If you're available.
They can do it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're good, so.
Okay.
Very
So just out of curiosity,
I just
and
have a
just
clarifying question.
out of curiosity, I would suggest morning,
Yes.
starting in the morning on a Saturday. People don't want to burn an entire day, make it. City council did a 9 to 5, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm not
Oh,
up
I
for
don't
that.
want it, no.
So I'd be willing to do a 9 to noon or a 9 to 1 with
Yeah.
structure.
Right.
I would be absolutely.
Carrie, you're in charge of pizzas. Vegetarian pizza's great, I love it.
Kim, you had a question?
So in between now and the 24th, or now and the 28th, you want us to solicit feedback?
Yeah, you know what, why don't you let me, I kind of have an idea of, I think,
Okay.
what I want, so
Okay.
if you'll let me just communicate directly with you on that, that would be great, at least in the written form that way.
Okay.
And then, you know,
communicate with all of you?
excuse me, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. In the meantime as well, I would want to encourage everybody on this board to, on an individual basis, be soliciting as much feedback from interested parties, community, stakeholders, anybody that we can. I would suggest that we all have a reportable strategy for how we're going to do that, such that when we do get back and meet, we can actually disclose that. So again, to other people's points, we make sure that there is the feeling and there is the actual accomplishment of true community outreach when we do this. Sheila.
Feedback, I'm just making sure I know, like, when we're trying to get feedback, is it about the job description? Is that what, before the 28th? I just heard you say we need feedback.
You know, again, I think it would probably be best, let me draft a letter, let me get it out to everybody, and then we'll get some clarity on that. This is all moving very quickly, and again, because of where we are, and because of the challenges of now, whatever it is, 12 or 13 people that are positions out there to fill, I'm not gonna say we're making it up as we go, but we need to do some things before we can actually solidify other things that are gonna be part of the package. Make sense?
And the reality of the situation, as Troy lightly alluded to, is we don't want to be waiting until May or June to hire a superintendent, because they're,
The good ones will be gone.
we'll be flying them in from some, third world country by that time. There's a lot of competition right now. And when Marin County, which is a number of schools under basic aid districts, when they open up the checkbook, it is competitive.
So I guess go ahead.
I also want people to put their thinking caps on about any meetings that are going to be held at school sites, whether it's site council meetings or PTA meetings. Those are great avenues for very involved parents to provide feedback. So it would be nice to get the word out to those organizations that are having meetings in February to not only tell them about the 28th, but to solicit input.
Because if people could come together and then they could present at the 28th instead of each
Instead of having
individual person.
individuals, you can say, McNear PTA says we'd like this.
Yeah.
And then you've just, covered a lot of parents and teachers' input.
So we can work with the principals.
Right, so
Together.
that would be a way to solicit throughout the community, as well as, boys and girls clubs and whatnot.
But we probably need to find a location ASAP for the 28th, or it's 2 weeks away.
Right.
So we want to have it at, centrally located would be maybe McKinley Elementary.
Is that gonna be big enough?
Matt just left.
Matt
Yeah,
just
put on
left.
Matt.
Yeah, I saw
Matt could buy the
Yeah, Matt just left, so I think the school.
Or McDowell, who's got the bigger one.
Okay.
So I guess the other thing that I want to throw out there is, this is going to be an exercise in balance. We have 7,400 kids, we have almost 1,000 employees, we have a large community. This is going to be balanced. We have goals that we're going to need to accomplish in a timely manner. I just want everybody to think in terms of, I will put together anything, and I will present, and I will champion anything that we can do to create the greatest process in the world. But there are going to be trade-offs for time. There's gonna be trade-offs for, one other thing that we need to talk about, there's gonna be trade-offs for confidentiality. The one concern that I personally have, and I think Mike maybe to a lesser extent, but I find this more because of my professional background, is that I would wanna make sure that this pool is open to everyone. That we get the best person, be it the superintendent from, Poway in Southern California or wherever. And we wanna make sure that we create an environment where we're going to get everybody who might be interested coming in. So I'm not sure exactly how to structure that, but what you're not gonna see, I can promise you, if I have the last say in this, is an article in the Argus-Courier that says these are the 12 people we're looking at. Because you have to understand that there are gonna be people that may not apply initially because they may not wanna leave where they are, or they may not wanna know anybody, if they can't actually get the job, and they may not want anybody to know they're looking. So we've got balance that we've gotta work with. And I just want you to know, I think we've got good experience on this board, but we've got to work in that regard. And I hope that makes sense. I mean, if we only look for people who are trying to jump out of their district, I don't know that we're going to find the person that you all want or we want, right? So we just have to, and we'll talk more about that going forward.
Yeah.
Yes?
Well, just really quickly, there's a lot of us in the district that have gone through district hirings before, and I would personally offer myself as a sounding board for those kind of issues, because that's something we talk about every single time when there is any kind of hiring, is the confidentiality aspect of it. That's part of our hiring protocol. So, please reach out and let us help.
I don't think you're going to find anybody that will be shy about looking for help. We think that we need it.
No, I just wanted to extend that.
I don't think that, and
Well, it's nice to hear those say about the confidentiality piece, because that's critical.
I think that I can pretty safely speak for everybody that we understand that this is the most important thing that a school board does. I mean, that's our job, is to hire and manage the superintendent who is running this district. So it's a big deal to get it. We can talk about all the other stuff on the agenda, but at the end of the day, this is the big thing. And so I think we all understand that, and that the gravity of the situation is not lost, at least on me or anybody else here, I don't believe. So we'll get moving, we'll get our stuff going in the right direction. There's going, as far as exact dates of process and how exactly we want to do that, I think Mike and I can sit down and we'll talk about it again. We'll put together something formal and we'll come back on the 24th.
Yeah, just a quick question. So when you put together something like you mentioned to send out to the unions,
Yes.
could you include, like, I don't know, Jane or someone, could there be something that we get out pretty quickly to the sites? Something so the principals can send to the PTA and
Site
can
council.
say, and site councils. We only have 2 weeks to let them know about the 28th, so we probably need something in the next few days to send out, like you were saying,
Right,
for the
'cause
PTA groups.
If they're gonna meet, if they have a scheduled meeting between, the 10th and the 28th, it would be nice to let them know that maybe that could be on their agenda.
Okay,
Be
so we
very
can work
happy
with
to
Ted
do
to
that.
make sure that we
Yeah.
get the word out.
Yeah, I'll send out an email to all the principals.
Okay.
So at this point, we're talking about the 28th from 9 to noon at McKinley.
Right.
Do you want to McKinney or McDowell? McDowell
McDowell.
is probably a little larger. They're
McDowell,
both centrally
yeah.
located, both within the elementary schools.
Yeah, rather
I think it's important to be within both the elementary and the high school.
And the high school district.
How's the parking pretty good there? Only because McDowell, the parking is, you got that lot, but you can't park on McDowell Street at all.
No, you
McDowell
can
Boulevard.
park on McGregor and.
Go park and Safeway.
The far end.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, McKinley would be worse.
Yeah.
Okay. He can
Well, whatever one you think is best, Steve. Just, somebody was trying to raise their hand?
It was a recommendation, and having been involved in a lot of community outreach, I would encourage the board to consider creating some way to capture the feedback that you get from, as you do your own outreach and as we come together as, diverse stakeholders, that not only do you find, I'm interested in externalizing that feedback, and then if there are themes that develop around that, particularly themes that correspond to different constituencies, I feel like that is insightful information And that would be something that would create an artifact of the process so that when people want to know about what were the important characteristics of a superintendent, what were their priorities around that you've captured it and you've externalized it for all stakeholders. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so. A lot of big words.
No, I
You want us to put it all together so we can then go back, sift through it, look at it, and see if we see trends and see if we see
And report that
pieces
back
coming
out.
out.
I just feel like that would be
It'd
so
certainly be
helpful for the board, both in deepening your sort of inquiry, but also it would be helpful to just externalize what you know so that that creates this current of just openness and transparency. I just feel like it would be advantageous to the board and to the community.
And I will share with you that I actually was introduced to this district, not just from being a product of it or having my children here, but the actual inner workings of the district when I answered an article advertisement in the Argus asking for a parent to be part of the district liaison committee when Greta Vigea was hired. So I can share with you, that was 3 superintendents ago, that I was not excited about that process and how that worked. And I didn't think at that time that it was a very open process, being a participant of it. And I would like to make sure that we don't do it in a similar manner such that we appear to be looking for your input and just kind of looking over your shoulder while you're talking to us. Okay? So just to give you a little background of that, I can't promise you the externalizing of everything, but I think that I think we're going to give it a really good shot.
What Troy meant to say was not his first rodeo. Since we're trading, local boy barbs.
And I think the robocall and
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
email.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways to make sure the message gets out. There's
Right.
certainly no.
In the past, we haven't always done a great job, so I think what's really out there is the best of our ability.
And hopefully we will get, in return, we'll get some folks that come out that maybe aren't always the ones that come out, I'm not talking about here, but if we get, those, I'm really looking forward to hearing from people that we don't normally hear from. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing from the people that I talk to at Petaluma Market. That are the ones that, and I don't want to use the term silent majority because I think that's, but those folks, we want to hear from everyone, not just the loudest, or the ones with nothing to do on a Saturday morning.
And people that have had experience with our past superintendents and other superintendents who maybe can, help do this composite, help us with, this is great, this works with these criteria, and so we meet him or her and say, wow, this fits with a lot of the composite pieces and to make a better whole. So that experience is invaluable, and especially if you've worn multiple hats dealing with different superintendents. So you definitely get a perspective at every level.
At special meetings, we don't usually have, or workshops and things, Petaluma Access. Any chance to get them to this?
Yeah, we can,
What are you
we'll
doing
inform
the
them
28th?
at the meeting.
We should introduce Ryan. He's a Petaluma boy. Ryan, thanks for doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you the 28th at 9 o'clock.
I think PCA pays time and a half on Saturday.
Hey, your boss is my neighbor, I'll square with. We'll get you double time or whatever. We'll get you paid.
All right, anybody?
So that's first blush. Like I said, we'll have something, Mike and I will sit down and we'll get an actual hard copy of where we think. And as well, I will share with you that in an effort to make sure that we get some appropriate help, we've reached out to some folks as well. And when we hear back from them, before we commit to them, we'll have some assistance in this process too, that I think will be very, very valuable if we can incorporate everything.
We're choosing not to pay a search company, just because those are costly and.
I'm not going to recommend it based upon the one person that we maybe thought we might want to use, we're not going to be able to use. They're already taken care of. And what I was told was that, what do I call it? Steve, the Craigslist, the superintendents?
Yeah.
Oh, Ed joined.
Use Ed join.
Steve has already spread the news. We are not, this is a job that is not going to, people are going to know. And I don't know that we benefit from spending $15,000 or $20,000.
Or 30,000.
Or $30,000 or $40,000.
Yeah.
To again, quite honestly, be a process, part of a process that I was a part of, whatever it was 10 years ago, which I did not feel validated anything.
Okay.
Other than kind of maybe a fait accompli.
Thank you for having this discussion in this forum. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Kim. Does anybody else have anything to add? Okay, that being the case, then,
Where are
yeah.
Where are we? Future business.
So go to future business. Anybody have anything on future business?
Oh gosh, hiring of a superintendent.
So,
24th, 28th?
This will be an agenda item on the 24th.
right, future business, this will be agenda item. And then we've got signings of papers of a routine nature. And then we'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session.
A search group?
So,
Yeah, but we'll be reporting out on student matters.
yeah, we just report out on student matters. Okay, so that's what I'll do. All right, so off we go. Thank you all for your patience and your input, and off we go.